In 1347, a deadly plague arrived in Europe. Within just a few years, millions were dead, entire villages were abandoned, and the old world began to collapse. But something unexpected happened. The survivors suddenly became more valuable than ever before. Workers demanded higher wages, farmers gained more freedom, and the powerful feudal system began to weaken. This is the story of how one plague changed Europe forever. Before the Black Death, Europe was already under pressure. The population had grown rapidly, and food was becoming harder to produce. Most people were peasants. They worked the land owned by powerful nobles and had very little control over their own lives. Many peasants were tied to the land. They could not simply leave and choose a better life somewhere else. Europe had a rigid social system. Kings ruled over nobles. Nobles controlled the land, and peasants did most of the work. Then, in 1347, strange ships arrived at European ports. Some of the sailors were already sick or dead. Soon, the disease began spreading through the crowded cities. The disease was the plague, caused by a bacterium called Yersinia pestis. It spread through trade routes, crowded towns, and traveling communities. People had no idea what caused it. Many believed it was punishment from God, poisoned air, or a mysterious curse. Doctors had no modern medicine, no knowledge of bacteria, and almost no way to stop the disease. The Black Death moved from city to city with terrifying speed. In many places, entire families disappeared within days. Streets became empty, markets closed, and farms were abandoned. The number of deaths was enormous. Europe lost a massive share of its population. But the plague did not affect every region in exactly the same way. Still, the loss of so many people created a problem that Europe had never faced before. There were suddenly too few workers to farm the land, build homes, transport goods, and run businesses. Landowners desperately needed workers, but workers were now rare. For the first time, many ordinary workers had the power to negotiate. If one lord refused to pay more, workers could sometimes leave and find better opportunities elsewhere. Wages rose in many parts of Western Europe, and surviving workers gained greater economic power. With higher incomes, some families could afford better food, better clothing, and more comfortable homes. The plague had caused unimaginable suffering, but it had also changed the balance of power. Before the plague, the feudal system depended on a large population of peasants working the land. After the plague, many fields had no workers left. Some landowners tried to force workers to stay and demanded that wages remain low. Governments also introduced laws designed to control wages and limit worker freedom. But workers resisted. Some moved away. Others demanded better conditions, and some joined rebellions. Over time, the old system became harder to maintain, especially in parts of Western Europe. The Black Death did not destroy feudalism overnight, but it accelerated changes that were already beginning. The population decline also meant that there was more land available for the people who survived. Some peasants moved into abandoned farms or took control of better land. Less productive farmland was sometimes abandoned, while the best land became more valuable. In some regions, farming changed as landowners looked for ways to produce more with fewer workers. This encouraged new forms of agriculture, trade, and investment. Cities also changed. Many lost huge numbers of people, but new opportunities later attracted workers and merchants. Skilled workers became especially valuable. Some survivors gained access to jobs and opportunities that had once been impossible. Wealth slowly became less connected only to land, and more connected to trade, skills, and business. The plague also changed the way people viewed religion and authority. Many people had believed that the old social order was natural and permanent, but after the disaster, the world no longer seemed permanent or predictable. Some people became more religious, while others began questioning traditional institutions. The experience left deep psychological and cultural scars that lasted for generations. The Black Death was not simply a medical disaster. It was one of the greatest economic and social turning points in European history. It changed the value of labor, weakened old systems, and created new opportunities for many survivors. But the results were not equal everywhere. Some regions changed dramatically, while others kept older systems for much longer. The plague did not create modern Europe by itself, but it pushed Europe onto a new path and accelerated changes that would shape the centuries ahead. One disease killed millions, but the survivors found themselves living in a completely different world. Workers had more power, land changed hands, old traditions weakened, and new opportunities appeared. The Black Death proved that even the greatest disasters can transform the way societies work. Europe survived, but it was never the same again. If you had lived in Europe during the Black Death, what would you have done to survive? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe for more incredible stories from history.